Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros, or should I say Parks Booze, because we are doing another maze review from Knott Scary Farm, and this review is all about the new for 2018 maze, Dark Entities. Now this maze is themed to an infection, like an alien infection taking over a spaceship with humans on it, and it's definitely probably the goriest maze we saw all night. Just as a as a warning, it is definitely the most gory we saw that night. Now, one thing I want to add before we actually get into the review, this doesn't ever have a line. When we went on it, we came out of the depths and walked straight in. No grouper outside the entrance at all. We just went straight through, and because of that, because there was no one with us, it was just the group of 6 of us, we got all the scares possible in this maze. So that made it a lot better than I was expecting, but still probably not my favorite. But anyways, let's get on to this review. And if you don't like spoilers for the mazes, I do not have footage of the mazes because Scary Farm does not allow filming in the mazes. And if you don't like spoilers, make sure you click out of this video because I'm going to give at least a couple away during this video. So let's start this off by talking about the theme more. And as I said, the theme is an infection, an alien infection that is taking over the crew of this interstellar vessel. It's definitely kind of like a Mass Effect type of vibe that at least I could feel, almost Alien as well, like the old Alien movies and the new Alien movies as well. And there was actually some of the scenes that were heavily inspired from the Alien movies for sure. I'm completely sure of it. Now, the first room you walk in, you see some people giving you warnings. Actually, there's a lot of scare actors that give just warnings the entire time. They just keep telling you to move, go quicker. You got to get out of here. That type of deal over and over again. Not too many like real jump scares, but we'll get to those later. And when you first walk in, you'll see a robot that is looking to be like a receptionist almost, but is surrounded by a desk, and you find out that you are going to be an experiment or something along those lines. At least that's what I got from it. So a lot of scare actors do talk to you during this maze, and with us being only the group of 6 of us and being pretty much the only ones in our area of the maze, we got all the interactions that we could have gotten. Now, after you go through the first room, you get to the second room, which another employee tells you to go this way, and you go through a like portal type thing, and immediately after you go through the portal, you have this shaking floor section, and you end up pretty much seeing all the bad things start to happen immediately after walking through this little portal way, with people starting to scream and there's blood everywhere, and it looks really stunning. I will give it that, but it just kind of jumps to test subject to, oh no, this is a terrible thing, you shouldn't have done this, get away, get away, get away. Now, to be honest with you, it's really kind of hard to tell a lot of these rooms apart because they are so similar, at least in the hallways, and they all have the same sort of theming, which doesn't look bad at all. I think it's great theming, but it is harder to tell, from memory at least, which room was which and where it was in the maze, because they're all so similar. A lot of these hallways look like the same exact hallways that you just went through about 30 seconds prior. But as you're going through this maze, people start to decay more and more rapidly. They start turning into these aliens, and it gets more and more creepy and bloody, and about halfway through you get to a room which looks like it's a surgery room, and one of the robots, like in the beginning of the maze, is trying to put intestines back together, like he's gonna fix it. It's probably the funniest thing in the maze for sure, but that's definitely when the gore starts to really truthfully pop up, where you see 2 dead bodies that are completely like imploded. And also you have a lot of these scare actors that are walking around that are completely covered with gore, and like half their faces changed, and the makeup looks amazing in this maze, I will give it that. But then you keep walking, and there are some like test tube chambers, and it's another Shadowlands type room, if you guys have seen that review already, where you don't know which is the actual figure of a scare actor and which is the figure of a statue. And they have those in glass tubes and some of them were broken, and I really liked that room. We actually just didn't get that scare because the scare actor wasn't there. And then after that, you go through what looks to be the captain's quarters where they're actually steering the vessel, and there is a guy that likes to shake a bunch of the chairs and go all kind of crazy in that room and scare you as you walk through that room, which is really a nice touch. Then after that, there are some great pop-out scares where they will come from around the corner and yell in your face, and it really works really well. But this is when you start to see that there are actually like little aliens straight from like the movie Alien, like the head crabs on the walls and like walking around and stuff. I mean, they aren't physically moving, but they are stagnant figures that look really well done. And then you start seeing the full scare actors changed into aliens, and these costumes look fantastic, especially their headpieces. And there are some great laser effects where it's like a laser wall, but then they come through it and then they get really close to your face, and I really liked how that looked. It looked fantastic because when you break the laser, it looks like they're just breaking out of a jail cell and like attacking you, and it looks really great. So I loved that in the maze. And you'll see a couple of those figures. One actually got super close to my face, which I was okay with, actually. It added to it a lot. But it was almost a little too close for comfort, but I think it's really hard to see out of those costumes. And the arms are really long, like the fingertips are like a foot long, so it's kind of harder to see, I'm sure. But then going through some more shaking hallways where the ground is kind of vibrating with this heavy bass, you end up reaching this animatronic figure, which is pretty huge. But when we went through, he wasn't lit up at all and didn't move at all. It looked like he wasn't working. And that's the final scare too, which kind of took a little out of the maze for sure. But we actually, I think, got more scares in that maze in general than any other maze out of all of Scary Farm. And that was because we were the only people in the maze, realistically, at least within 100 feet. So that really added to it, the fact that they were focusing on us and not focusing on 3 groups ahead of us and 3 groups behind us. So it was really nice to actually have those scares. Now overall, I'm gonna probably say this was my least favorite maze of the night, just because the scare actors aren't the most into it, I suppose. Their scares were really great, but the maze itself also kind of just rushes through things a little bit. Now, we might have been walking through it faster than normal, but that's because we didn't have a group in front of us. But realistically, there wasn't anything noteworthy to take a stop and look at and take your time to really truthfully look at, like some of the other mazes like the Depths, where you just wanted to look at the giant squid monster or the laser effects. Or with Shadowlands, you wanted to watch the bungee jump scares. There was nothing really like that besides maybe the one scare actor going through the lasers, but that was about it. Everything else was kind of just like, oh, that's kind of nice, and then you kept walking. Because most of it is just the same hallways. Now, there were some great hallway scares as well, where there was a bunch of panels that you could visibly see that each one could possibly move to reveal a scare actor, and you couldn't tell which one. And that really made a nice scare, because one of them was an actual scare spot, so that actually helped. But besides that, I think it's a great maze. I don't know if it's going to last the year, because it definitely does not have as many people walking through it as any other maze in the park. Like, we did not see the wait go longer than 10 minutes all night long, which is insane for a brand new maze, which actually kind of makes me really sad, because I do think it deserves at least a little more attention. But I'm gonna have to rate this a 7 out of 10. Definitely not my favorite maze of the night, but still a really great execution for the maze itself and the theming. Now, the scare actors I could see being newer, definitely need some more experience, I would think, for better scares. But honestly, it was a great maze overall, but just not the most memorable, not the biggest in scale, and just kind of more of a walkthrough just to get some nice little scares. So that is 4 out of 5 of these reviews done. We have one more, which should be coming in the next couple days, and I'm really excited to share that with you, as well as I'm excited to share all the rest of these reviews with you. I will actually make a playlist for all of these, so I hope you can enjoy all of them, and I hope you have at least enjoyed this video and this review and the other reviews from Scary Farm. And if you like it, let me know by clicking the button. Wow, that sounds dumb. Anyways. But of course, thank you again for watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next Fright.